Hello everybody, welcome back to another modern video here today. Today I'm bringing you something a little bit different than what I've been bringing you before. I'm taking a break from Grixis Delver, and I'm going to try out a new sort of Jeskai build that's come out into the scene recently with the release of Kaladesh and A the Revolt. Now, if you have been playing Modern for a long time, you'll know that Splinter Twin was one of the pillar decks of the Modern format. Was that like February of last year? I can't even remember when it was banned. But basically, it was a turn 3 creature with a turn 4 instant win combo, and it basically kind of made blue difficult to play if you weren't Splinter Twin, because it was basically a great control deck with an infinite combo finish. And if you were playing blue, there wasn't much reason to not be playing Splinter Twin, aside for, like standard Jeskai control and things like that. But once it was banned, it kind of let blue evolve into something a bit more. We saw a lot more. We saw Grixis control. We saw Jeskai Saheeli break out into the scene. So blue was given a bit more life, but there is something to be said about a turn 4 combo that wins on the spot, especially against a lot of non-interactive decks or decks with little interaction. A turn 4 combo against a board full of difficult creatures to kill is easy, because you just combo off and you win, and standard Jeskai control or Grixis control may have a hard time dealing with every single one of those creatures, having to deal with each one and then get a win condition and then win from there. So with that said, here we have a Copycat combo, and if you're not familiar with this combo, it's Saheeli Rai, who uses her -2 to create a token that's a copy of a target creature you control, and it gains haste. And Feldar Guardian is the creature we target with that -2. After the token is created, Feldar Guardian comes into play, and it will retarget Saheeli, meaning that you can then -2 her again to get an infinite amount of 1/4s. And so if you've seen Splinter Twin in action, you'll know exactly what I mean. If you haven't, or if you've been watching Standard, hopefully you know what I mean. But hopefully you'll see some of that today. And so I've seen a lot of lists come up recently. A lot of them had like Supreme Verdict, Wall of Omens, that kind of stuff. I'm more inclined to go for a sort of all-in list. Basically, less grind in the main deck and more all-in combo. You can see this by the 1-of copy of Dispel in the main board, as well as Peak, which is a card that generally doesn't do much more than give you information, but that information can tell you if it's safe to combo out, what to play around, all that kind of stuff. Then we're playing the full 4 copies of Remand, basically just you want to tempo out and combo. And then we also have 2 copies of Vendilion Click, which also help us either force out the combo against other blue decks, disrupt combo or control decks, or just let us also know if it's safe to combo. And because Feldar Guardian, it does have a lot of synergies if you're not doing the combo. First of all, it can target Vendilion Click to continue the disruption. It can target Snapcaster Mage for more value once you get up to sort of like 5 mana. And then Spreading Seas is also kind of an integral card for the deck, because on turn 2, you want to either disrupt or keep up Remand. And Spreading Seas really helps keep our opponents off certain colors of mana. Sometimes even just wins games on its own. And it can combo with Feldar Guardian to make Feldar draw a card when it enters the battlefield. And what's nice is the opponent can't actually respond as Spreading Seas re-enters the battlefield, so you can kind of like equip it. If they don't like do anything, you can reattach it to like a Ghost Quarter or something. That way your Colonnade is safe. I imagine, though, a smart opponent would see that line, but it's just these little things that make the deck function really nice. So you have the 4 Path to Exile, 4 Lightning Ball. These are just the premier removal spells of the format. We got 4 Serum Visions because we need to dig for the combo. And then 2 Spell Snares. I really like Spell Snare, both as an early game counter spell and kind of protects against things like Counter Squall or Terminate. 2 cards that Risk Control really play that disrupt the combo very efficiently. As for the sideboard, it's a pretty standard Jeskai Control kind of sideboard with 2 kind of... The key cards you're going to see here are Jace Architect and PN Kirnalar. This is our grind package. It's how we're going to be able to deal with decks like Jund or opposing control decks or Abzan, even Death Shadow. Jace plus Feldar, I'm telling you guys, this combo is pretty crazy. I've been able to draw like 6 or 8 cards off of a Jace in one game against non-blue decks where they just can't actually interact with a Feldar resolving. And that card advantage is just insane. We have Supreme Verdict, Anger, and is it Static Caster as our sweepers of choice. Earlier I had this as 2 Supreme Verdict, but I ran into a good amount of Abzan Company and other kind of even green-black snake decks where there's a lot of Hangerback Walkers and things like that. So I really like Anger of the Gods. It's just also cheaper. You can really use it a bit earlier in the game, which is definitely helpful against Naya or Vault Zoo. We have 2 Blessed Alliance because we want as many ways to deal with big creatures like Death Shadow while also hosing Burn in one card. So this is just a really great flex spot in the sideboard. It does a lot of it comes in a lot of different matchups, and that's what you want from a sideboard card. And then we also have Timely Reinforcements, just another card to hate out Burn because we don't run any Lightning Helix main board like some other Jeskai builds. So game 1 we have a hard time against Burn. So game 2 we really want to make sure we can gain that life advantage. Then we have some Stony Silence just to hate out Eldrazi Tron, Affinity, and Lantern Control and decks like that. And here we have a bit more counter spells because they're really powerful against blue decks. Blue decks will tend to keep in their cards like Cryptic Command against us, and the trade is so worth it. Like 1 Dispel for a Cryptic Command, the mana advantage is ridiculous. And then there's 2 more flex spots, Spreading Seas and Wear Tear. Before I had Rest in Peace, I'm not sure we really need Rest in Peace right now, especially because it also hurts our own Snapcaster mages. I might come to regret that if I face, some graveyard-based decks. But the 4th Spreading Seas also helps in the Tron matchups and any matchup where you think Spreading Seas could just really disrupt our opponent. And then Wear and Tear, it's just a versatile card. It can be brought in against, if we expect any hate from our opponent's side. One opponent brought in Authority of the Councils, I think. It's the one where creatures enter the battlefield tapped, and then that stops the combo. And then I also had an opponent bring in Torpor Orb against me. So Wear Tear really helps against kind of hoser cards. But overall, that's the deck. I'm really excited about it. I've done a lot of testing with it, and it really has done me very well so far. So we're going to run it through a Modern League and hopefully bring you some good games. So stay tuned, and I'll see you soon. Alright, everybody, welcome to the first match here with Jeskai Saheeli. Let's see what we can get in our opener here and see what we're up against. I'm really excited to be testing out Jeskai Saheeli right now. It's really, really reminiscent of Splinter Twin. So I've really been enjoying the playtesting it so far. Let's take a look at our hand here. We have turn 1 Serum Visions or Bolts, and we have turn 2 Spreading Seas. So to me, that's a pretty good hand. And we have 2 lands. I imagine with all these draw cards, we'll hit a third. Our opponent went down to 6. And our opponent has kept on 6. So let's see what our opponent can muster up here. Affinity, huh? I think. Could be Lantern, actually. Alright, it's Affinity. Mox Opal. It's a pretty good start from our opponent here. Now there's an argument to go ahead and bolt the Vault Scourge, just to turn off Mox Opal. But I imagine we might want to save this bolt for a more important creature, such as a Steel Overseer. However, I think this is the fact that our opponents got down to 3. They're low on cards. I think we want to pressure their mana. Could have been wrong though. Not 100% sure. Yeah, they could just play an artifact right now. Arcbound Ravager is fine, actually. I mean, there's no other creature really to turn it on right now. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and Serum Visions, and then probably just keep up Path to Exile. Don't want this many lands. It's a little too many. And we'll see what our opponent decides to do here. Because we will happily Path to Exile Arcbound Ravager if we have to. The thing is, we don't even have to right now. Cranial Plating. Yep, that's fine. They're going to go ahead and equip. We say sure. We'll go ahead and just path it. There's no reason to take 5 right here. So what they could do is start sacrificing things and put it on the Blink Moth, and this would actually be good for us, because then we can have Spreading Seas to shut it down. Yep, that's exactly what's happening here. They could just be sacrificing itself, though. Yeah, that's fine. And this also means they don't get a land, which could help us down the road to keep them tight on mana with like Remand or something like that. Snapcaster Mage is a great draw. Here, we're going to go ahead and Serum Visions first. That way we can draw into some cards that we like. Fellar Guardian, not a bad draw either. Both of these are pretty solid cards. We want to close the game out somehow. So we'll go ahead and we might be casting Feldar Guardian on turn 4, but it's more likely that we're casting it on turn 5 with some value with Snapcaster Mage. So I'm going to go ahead and put that first and then click. Oh, we're going to be drawing them anyways, though, so I forgot about Spreading Seas. Alright, so Blink Moth is effectively shut down, and we have Snapcaster Mage to answer almost any creature, and we can start getting a threat going with Vendilion Click. So let's go ahead and set a stop on our opponent's draw step. We'll go ahead and play the Sacred Foundry tapped. And here, let's see if we can take some action out of our opponent's hand. They might have a Galvanic Blast. They want to shoot this down. Shoot our face. Sure. 2 at our face. Okay. That makes a bit more sense. Great. Our opponent's got nothing. And we're in a really strong position now. And even drew Spell Snare, which is very live against a lot of stuff in our opponent's deck. And here, there's even an argument for going Snapcaster Mage, Serum Visions. Just because our opponent is unlikely to come up with something really problematic for us to deal with. And comboing out is going to be a fast way to close out this game. We don't want another click. Bolt could be good though, so I'll keep the Bolt in play. Thing is, we have Feldar Guardian to blink the Snapcaster Mage. I mean, it's big, but it'll get bolted. We'll go ahead and take it down. Swing in for 5. And that's the thing with control decks, you know, with the combo, you don't have to play the combo. I mean, sure. Yep. Let's go ahead and crack the fetch here. Get another red source. And what can we draw? So right here we have a few choices. We can just attack with both, and if they want to trade here, that's fine. And then let's go ahead and just... Will we have enough mana to do what we want to do? We want 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 4, 5, 6, 7. We should have enough mana to do whatever we want to do. And another Feldar Guardian just kind of ensures that this is what we want to be doing. So if they want to trade here, that's fine, but of course they don't want to. We'll make sure to keep one blue up here. And then lightning bolt. And there we go. They have had enough. Alright, so for this matchup, there's a few good cards to bring in here. Stony Silence is the #1 card to bring in. What's going on? Come on. There we go. Stony Silence. There's an argument for Blessed Alliance just because its champion is incredibly hard to deal with. Supreme Verdict is definitely coming in, as is it Staticaster and Wear and Tear. And then we have these kind of fringe cards like Negate's not coming in. Remand is definitely getting cut. This is a pretty bad card against our opponent. Peak is not necessary because our opponent is unlikely to be interacting with us that much. Dispel is also not the best card. And I'm happy cutting a Vendilion Click here too. PM Kiran Alar, not bad. It produces colorless tokens, which means I can block its champion. Anger of the Gods is also pretty good. And then there's an argument for another Spreading Seas and a Jace. I think 3 Spreading Seas is fine. It shuts off their man lands, but that's about it. What we can do is shave a few pieces of the combo here in the form of Saheeli, because we could just be trying to win off of the control plan here. Yeah, I like Spreading Seas. It's not bad. And then I guess an Anger of the Gods. Jace might just be a little too slow in this matchup. So I think this is a pretty good configuration. We still got the combo in here. Feldar Guardian is a great just grind card. And reuse our Snapcaster Mages as we saw in the previous game. But it's unlikely we're going to win off the combo in this matchup. Well, it's not unlikely, but we play the control game better in a matchup like this, I feel. We have a lot of good tools from the sideboard that could easily tip the game in our favor. Supreme Verdict, Stony Silence. And which is the big reason why I like playing Jeskai over, say, Grixis, because our sideboard tools are just so much more efficient than other colors, I feel. White has a lot of hate. I'm not playing Rest in Peace, but, Stony Silence, Rest in Peace, Ruined Halo. I'm sure there's a, Supreme Verdict in the form of just an uncountable Wrath. There's just so much access to cards that are just really strong in a wide array of matches. So I'm a big fan of the Jeskai colors in post-boarded games. And beating Affinity in Game 1 is one of the most important things, because they can just get nut draws in game 1, which are hard to overcome. Unfortunately, our opponent mulliganed, so that didn't happen. Now let's take a look at our hand here. We have Felidar, Snapcaster, and we have Spell Snare. Spell Snare is really strong in this matchup, unless our opponent gets something out like a turn 2 Etch Champion. We're lacking Bolt or Path or any sort of interaction. This is already a pretty bad sign for us. Signal Pass, sure. And here we're going to want to... Ooh, Stony Silence is great. So here we're going to want to keep up Spell Snare, counter their turn 2 play, and then jam Stony Silence. The question is, we're probably going to be Fetch Shocking here. So in case they don't actually play anything on turn 2... I mean, we're probably going to be Fetch Shocking on turn 2 anyways. Alright, so Mox Opal is not turned on right now unless they play like a Memnite or something. Or a Ornithopter or something like that. Or something like that. Which is why I'm going to go ahead and counter this Vault Scourge. Because if they go ahead and, resolve a Cranial Plating, then we'll get down to Stony Silence next turn. Sure. So this is a pretty tame hand from our opponent. I mean, they have a lot of man lands here, which might be difficult to deal with. Alright, but Stony Silence should at least stem the bleeding for a little bit. We will need to find some form of interaction, though. Yep, we're going to get hit for 4 here. So finding like a Lightning Bolt for this Signal Pest could be really nice. Alright, Colonnade. We'll go ahead and start out with Serum Visions. Saheeli, so that's the combo. Is it fast enough is the question. We'll be able to play the Guardian next turn, which won't really be able to block anything. But I think that's our way of winning this game. So we'll go ahead and just play it out. If our opponent tries to play a 2-drop, we have another Spell Snare. And that'll maybe save us some 2 damage. But we'll go down to 9. Our opponent doesn't have colored mana, so they can't like Galvanic Blast us right now. There are a lot of draws though, or a set of hands that could be difficult for us to beat. But it does require our opponent to continue attacking, and our spells are lining up very well against our opponents. So we'll go down to 11, but we're not too worried about that. Now, unfortunately, we won't have any value plays to play off Felidar right now. But we'll just set up the combo for next turn. We'll bluff as if we have another Spell Snare. And we'll go ahead and pass. Our opponent might play like an Etch Champion here, but that won't matter because... Yep, there's Blink Moth. We'll get hit for another 4 here, and hopefully combo out next turn. Can't block. Go down to 7. Alright, let's see. Path to Exile's not a bad card, but we're just going to go for it. If our opponent has something like Dismember, there's not much we can do about that. But we're going to go for it. And let's see, have we made it? Alright, we've made it. So my opponent's going to make me do this. So I'm going to pause the video, and I'll get back to you guys soon. Alright, our opponent conceded after we got a bunch of tokens out, and they were a little upset here. But yeah, Saheeli did its thing. We comboed out, much like Twin would, although at sorcery speed. But it was enough to get the job done. Alright, so see you guys during the next match.